We have a real emergency, guys. I have one straw left. One straw left to last the next, I think it's 11 hours now. Yeah. A little under 11 hours, but we'll just say 11 hours. Wait, is it 11 hours? I think it's 11 hours. I can't do math.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
And get excited. If you have been here, if you have been watching, if you have been dying to see the raunch, it is coming.
She handled herself the best she could.
It will be here before the next break. I tell you that.
As expected, princess.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Ugh.
Hush, Sam.
Oh, poor Sam.
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find.
I always forget about this part for some reason. I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. The voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked, alongside the boys. And if you're wondering why I keep saying boys instead of incubi, anytime I'm reading quickly, the word incubi always trips me up, so it's easier to just replace it with boys. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Now I need to use
Are you really sure?
the mouse for this part, because it's a quick time event, and you can't just hit space. All of us shot our heads towards the doors, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would have never expected to see. Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercing into mine, roughened up clothes and a pistol in his hand. I saw a monster. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dried blood covered the bandana around his neck as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned man was a similar-looking woman in matching thug-like clothes.
Oh, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face, but sadly, he survived.
What the fuck?
I love how that line's delivered. Hold on, I gotta be quiet so you can hear the true beauty of it.
What? What the fuck?
Love it. Love Malix.
What?
What should have been a headshot ended with a loud but empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over again in aggravation. Luckily for my ears, it became quieter after its first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, Shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Ah!
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malix.
Malix. That was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked to Matthew in the same confusion as Malix did. This place is protected by magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malix's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
Then what's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malix and the boys. With no power, Malix wasn't going to fight. I took that chance to stand up to him instead of being powerless like I was in the dream. Get out of my house, please. Malix growled at me, walking right up to me and leaning close to my face. I glared back, feeling my courage skyrocket.
Since when does a little stain like you give orders to a guy who can rip your pretty little head from your body?
You really don't think, do you? If you kill me, you'd be hunted down by more than just the police.
You little...
I don't know why she would assume that or think that. Duck? I ducked underneath Malix. Ooh, achievement! I ducked under Malix's incoming hand. I stared, hello, read. I stared at his hand and his black flame tattoo in surprise as I took a couple steps back from Malix. Matthew and Damien stepped in front of me, guarding me from Malix with their arms.
A quick one. I'm liking you more and more.
I must have never hit duck before. I think I always just click a random one, or sometimes I let the timer run out because I forget that I need to use a mouse.
Back off, Malix!
Don't start acting tough, you pathetic excuse of a demon. You need more protection than her.
Shut up!
Poor
I
Maddie.
make little Matthew cry. Why don't you just grow a pair?
Poor little Maddie.
Enough, Malix.
The woman who had been standing in silence the whole time planted a firm hand on Malix's shoulder. Malix looked back at her with a growl and a glare that could kill.
Since when did you get the guts to speak out of place?
We both know you've never controlled me. I want them dead just like you two. But now's not the time.
Fuck off. I know what I'm doing.
Do you? Even if you did fight them, there's 5 against 2. We never win.
Shut up!
Let's go, Malix! We're wasting our time!
Jesus, I've never seen this interaction. The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense that fire would glow from under their teeth. Malix grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife. I guess.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
I love Malix. His voice actor just freaking killed it. Then Malix turned to me, moving his finger to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
Relationship goals? I don't know about that, Ace. I don't know about that. With that, Malix and the woman walked out of the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees give out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me.
Whoa, whoa! Are you alright?
Yeah. But, what was that?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
We should have stopped him and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil? There's a difference?
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the Abyssal Planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know as hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Debatable.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I'm just kind of witnessing it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
Why would it be the last time he saw us? It could have been like any time. Let's be real. Let's be straight. I couldn't believe my ears. It was the third day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
Kick his ass right now.
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
What a peach. But what about going outside? Won't he?
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I said I knew it. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Alex. Still, I couldn't help but feel nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train to become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. Allegedly. I went to bed that night feeling nervous, despite the words of the boys, they boys. I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic, devils, demons, how did this all even happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? They're only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until after. Why are we repeating that? After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to take care for the house all on my own. I'd have to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. D-boys, there you go, Ace. My life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys. Sorry, D-boys. to comfort me. Without D-boys. Debussy! I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Excuse me, sorry. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I'd be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever. You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
I want to be with you.
I love you.
Slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m. Why am I up so moderately decent of a time? God, this one strand of my hair is so soft. It's like doll hair. I'm totally not rubbing it all over my face right now. Because that'd be weird. That'd be really weird. I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to complain about it being too early. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across from my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m.? This one. Okay. You know what we've never done? We've never made coffee. we've either worked on homework, which we did the last run, or we've explored the house, which is the only way to unlock magical abilities and learn about how our grandfather knew about magic, to my knowledge. So I guess we're gonna make coffee. Why not? Haven't had it in forever. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen, unconcerned that I was in pajama pants and a tank top. I rummaged through the cabinets for a coffee machine and any makings for coffee. Surely my grandfather had some. A French press. Well, it's better than nothing. As I began to make my coffee, I checked my email and text on my phone. No new important emails. No text messages. I sighed. I quickly made my coffee just how I liked it and sat on the counter. But then I began to wonder, would this happen every day? I let the question linger in my mind. For a whole morning, I did not think once about the boys or Malix. Everything was peaceful. Everything was average. Nothing magical or dangerous or unusual. I simply drank my coffee as I let the thought marinate in the back of my mind. I returned to bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening. Come on, eyes. Back to sleep. Wait, you just had coffee, you idiot. You're not gonna fall asleep. Wow. The coffee is by far the least... I didn't think coffee would somehow be less interesting than doing homework, but yeah. And we didn't get a bonus for chaos or for order for doing that. That was just a waste of time. The muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. Huh? I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all 5 of the boys, practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged, each almost masterfully. Yo. All at once, the boys looked at me, frozen in their movements. I just stood at the doorway staring at them after my outburst. James was the first to break away from the group, stepping towards me.
Good morning. We apologize if we woke you up.
Yeah, you better be sorry. I had to drink coffee alone. And it was French press, which I don't know why. I don't really understand what French press is or why it's bad, but I had to French press it.
It's quite all right. We needed to stop anyway. We don't want to overwork Sam.
Oh, come on, I can handle more than those pity punches.
Your mind seems grateful that we've stopped.
Shut up, Damien.
Oh crap, we should probably make some lunch. I'm sure you're starving.
I am, and I had to make my own coffee.
Whoa, seriously?
I mean, I guess, yeah, okay, I get it. All right, I'm making the food. I'm making lunch. I know how to do things. Okay.
Well, no, I wasn't insinuating.
What he means to say is that we'd be really grateful if you could make lunch today.
Ha ha! No problem. As I turned to the kitchen, the boys went back to training. They seemed very determined to get better and become stronger. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make, I think I've only ever done the chicken and the sandwiches before, so we're gonna mix it up and do pizza, because I don't see how a food option is gonna affect if we get the true ending or not. And I'll be mad if it does. Pizza is always good no matter what time of day it is. Do we have any? Luckily, we had some pizza in the freezer to heat up. Pizza more is baked with the love of pizza. Had all the makings of pizza types, including pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, and extra cheese. Just top it, bake it, and serve. I'd have to get more later. I placed the food in the dining room, however, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. We all know what's about to happen here. All right. Quickly, I rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. I'm gonna be very uncomfortable, but this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. Whew. And by we, I mean not really me, because James just looks too much like the main character's dad, okay? So this is gonna be very uncomfortable. Just don't think about it, even though I just put the idea into your mind. Just don't think about it. Found James in the library, sitting in one of the comfy leather seats reading a book. As I stepped in, James looked up at me before closing the book and standing.
Oh, hello.
Yes, hello. I have food.
That is very kind of you. Thank you.
James took his food and sat back down, placing the book he was reading on the table in front of him and setting the dish on his lap.
I'm sorry. I should have asked you first before exploring the house and finding this room.
I guess. No, you're fine. Ha 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 ha. Remember, you live here too, so any room, especially mine, is free to be in.
Still, you're the master of the house. I should have asked.
I guess you should have. It's fine, really. I guess. Whichever one sounds better. James nodded at me with an understanding smile before eating his food. I followed along and ate with him, taking the open chair beside his. We ate in silence, listening to the ambiance in the room. You can't listen to the ambiance. That's not... Whatever. Soon, however, I began to feel a little restless. Hold on. We gotta save. Boys gotta save. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, that's the one we just made. Yeah. Book. Oh, thank God. I picked the right one. I put my food down on the table and lifted the book to examine it. Oh, okay. Love and Romance, a study of intimacy. James let out a small, nervous cough before he stopped eating and placed his food on the table.
Demons and humans are very different when it comes to affairs of the heart. I merely wanted to try learning a little more while I had the chance. I found that while I was looking around the room and had only just begun reading.
I see. Love is different to demons? How so? Teach me more! James smiled before crossing his legs, getting comfy for the small lecture he was about to give.
Love isn't just a human emotion, miss. Demons like us feel them too. In fact, incubi and succubi feel emotions the most because of our link to sexual energy. However, we don't really experience love. We know of lust and passion.
Tell me more! Tell me more!
For humans, yes. For demons, it fuels our need to breed and increase the strength of our lineage, as well as quells the hunger we have for sexual energy. It's very hard for us to develop feelings from passion, despite how easy it may logically seem.
Tell me more! I could tell I struck a nerve with James. As I mentioned the word hunger, his arm twitched, obviously wanting to do something other than remain on the armrest of the chair. He continued speaking regardless.
Sexual energy is our natural food source and is one of two ways to keep us alive. In the abyssal planes, there are many demons to feed off of who are always willing to give their energy up, so sexual hunger is never an issue. In the human world, however, we've come to realize that getting energy is a little more difficult.
Tell me more!
That only gives us so much. A touch is merely a taste, while intimate sex is a banquet for us.
I guess that was true. Sorry. I guess that was true. Humans weren't all about sex and were probably a lot more conservative than demons, at least. It would be hard to gain sexual energy from a human without doing something to them or catching them in the right mood.
This is why we have a mind-altering ability to convince humans to give in to their desires. It's not 100% effective, but it gives us a better possibility to get what we need.
Tell me more!
Food, typically. However, we're weak without actual sexual energy. Without sexual energy, we become less than human. We have no power nor moral consciousness. We basically start to become unfriendly.
Why did nobody mention this in literally every other run of this game? I feel like that's an important thing to mention when you're gonna have 5 of them living under your roof.
Food, typically.
Wait, I'm trying to save. Give me a moment to breathe. Would you like some pizza? I'm great at this. James didn't reply. He simply stared at me, unable to answer. However, I could tell that he was. He was clutching the armrest tightly, digging his fingers into the leather. I gently leaned close to him from my chair and reached to brush my fingers over his hand. Tell me more! I need to be shot. Once again, I was greeted with silence from James. He seemed very nervous and uncertain about what to do. Oh no! Imagine you don't want to be here right now. You're about to get some education. You're about to be educated. He seemed very nervous and uncertain about what... Officer! Oh my god, I can't tell if I'm having a heart attack or what. He was also frozen from my touch, softly and barely twitching at the feel of my skin against his. I could feel his hand grip the armrest harder. A small feeling of boldness then ran through my body, forcing me to cover his hand completely with my own before leaning nose to nose with James in seriousness. After my mind is altered, I'm so shook I can't read. alter my mind if you're concerned about me. I really do want to know more. All of a sudden, I felt something in my mind snap and ooze into the warm, fluffy feeling I felt before with Sam and Eric. Here it comes! I felt my body slightly heat up as James released the armrest and gently took my wrist. He gently pulled me out of my chair and onto his lap, having me straddle him with my thighs, as opposed to your arms. Sorry, gotta keep it suave. No memes here. He stared deep into my eyes, his own glowing in hunger that I would have never expected to see from him.
I won't go overboard.
Sure thing, bud. Tell me more. Before I knew it, his lips were pressed hard against mine, my head being pulled to his by his hand on the back of my neck. I gently moved my hands to his shoulders and chest, melting in his lap and enjoying every feeling that ran through my body. Sorry, Imagine. You came at the right time. I felt hot, desperate, and in need for more than just his kiss. One of my hands slid up his neck to his hair as James lowered his kisses to my neck, gently groaning against my skin. I couldn't help but let out a small whimper of pleasure before reaching up and covering my mouth. Break time, and oh, one more thing. What is this game? This game is Seduce Me, the Otome. It is on Steam. It is free. It has a sequel that I did not like that is $10, but I definitely recommend buying it just to support the creators. But Seduce Me, the Otome also has a couple DLCs. They have a little CD drama for a what-if scenario ending, and you can buy the soundtrack. This game is like my favorite game. I have so many hours on this game. But we're in the middle of something here, Roxas. So I didn't want the others to hear me, and I was positive neither did James. James lowered his free hand to my lower back, pulling my body against his. I felt my energy slowly draining, causing me to cuddle closer to James' hold on me. He lowered his hand to my waist, squeezing it tightly as his... Sorry, I heard that I said waist, but I had to check that they spelled it right because I love it when people spell it wrong because it makes me giggle. But they spelled it right, so no memes here. You little Dr. P in here. Squeezing it tightly as his tongue ravished my neck. His hand that was on the back of my neck, however, gently came around and held onto a tail of my bow. I sucked in a breath, but James didn't pull it to untie the bow. James lifted his lips from my neck and gently leaned his forehead to mine, rubbing nose to nose with me, even though we've been doing that this whole time. He was gently breathing fast, softly red in the face and deep into the moment as I was.
I won't go any further if you don't want me to.
I could feel the hold of his mind-altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if I truly did want to give any more. And we going for it. Boom. Fireworks. Pow. I opened the opportunity, and I was enjoying it as much as he was. I don't know about that, honey. I just cannot believe. I'm like trying my hardest to like not look at the picture that they have on screen because it just looks too much like the dad of the main character. It's too much. And I'm sorry, I can't unsee it. I'm trying not to look and I can't. It's in my peripheral. I'm like, do I hide it from, like, do I like put my hand over the screen so that I can read? I don't freaking know. Anyway. Lord. I wanted more and I was going to let him keep going. I know, Ace! I need to stop saying it, but I can't unsee it. He promised not to go too far. But this wasn't far enough for me. Jesus Christ. I gently leaned in and kissed him, giving him silent approval to keep going. I could feel him pull on the tail of my bow, releasing it and letting it follow his hand. Wait, hold on. I need to read the whole paragraph before I get into this. I'm very tired and I'm not reading this right. Oh, okay. That's what we're about to read. Okay. Releasing it and letting it follow his hand off from around my neck. He moved the ribbon to the empty seat before gently unbuttoning the top half of my blouse, going no lower than above my stomach. No lower than. Alright. I get it. PG. 13, 16, 18. He can't keep a straight face. Oh, this freaking game is gonna kill me. I'm so tired. Desire in my body drove me to move the sleeves of my shirt down my arms, escaping from it and letting the shirt hang around my belly. As he began to ravish my neck and shoulder in hot kisses, I leaned my head back and let a pleasureful sigh escape my lips. Hold on. The pull in my body from him draining my energy had slowed immensely, almost completely stopping. However, James kept touching and kissing me regardless. He was full, but he was as hot as I was and kept loving on my skin and on me. I couldn't even comprehend how much time we spent making out. I was so lost in the pleasure that I didn't care. Call it sinful, but I didn't care. I loved it. His touch, his kiss, his heat. I desired it to be beyond anything at that moment. Even as he lowered his kisses down my chest to just above my bra. Confirmed. Smacky wears a bra. My heart was Rock says, don't know why, but this reminds me of the anime Diabolic Lovers. That sounds good. That sounds good. I've never heard of it, but it sounds good. Was it good? Tell me. Tell me while I do this very serious, sultry reading of this not sex scene. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. Something about James drew me to him like a moth to a flame. I didn't know if it was his aura or superiority or his gentle smile. But something made my heart quicken for him. It couldn't have been love, but it was too passionate to be lost. What was it? However, I began to feel dizzy, seeing the ceiling start to spin almost wildly. I gripped onto James' shoulders, trying to signal him to stop, but my mind faded to black before I could let out another sound. I felt good. I didn't care that I was blacked out. I felt warm and fuzzy in the darkness. I never knew indulging in that kind of passion would be that good. I now just waited to awaken. Hopefully in a good way. It's getting hot, boys. It's so beautiful, I can't help it. Oh, God. Ace! Too into it! Turned down for what? Lord! My eyes eventually fluttered open, adjusting to the sight around me. I felt familiar silks? Does that say silks? Is that even a friggin' word? Silks? That's a word? I felt familiar silks underneath me, letting me know that I was in my bed. Excuse me. The anime is about vampire brothers, and they all want the same girl so they can drink her blood. Oh. Okay, fair enough. That plot reminds me of Vampire Knight, which wasn't a very good anime. But, like, when you're 12 and you watch a mediocre anime that's kind of good, but not really, you think it's amazing. I don't know how long that lasted, but I don't know if we can do this another 2 times, guys. I might actually die. I slowly sat up, stretching from the tiredness that still lingered. I felt a very soft pain on my neck and shoulders, and I could feel my swollen lips pulse gently and healing. However, when I looked down at my body, I saw that my shirt had been pulled back up and rebuttoned as if nothing had happened between me and James. I was just missing my ribbon. Before I turned to get out of bed, though, I spotted my ribbon on the pillow beside the one I slept on. It was tied in a nice bow around a red rose that was freshly bloomed with a small note attached to it. I gently slipped the note from the tie and opened it to read it.
I apologize for indulging myself as I did. I hope that you will not dislike me when you awaken.
All right, then. The answer is too long? What? You're confusing me, Ace. I'm very tired. What time is it? Oh my God, we're almost at the 14-hour mark. I'm so hyped. I stared at the note, unbelieving what I read. Why would I dislike him? I let it happen and I enjoyed it. It was cute, though, to imagine him asking for forgiveness for something we both did and enjoyed. That scene lasted too long? Yeah. I feel like the ones with Eric and Matthew didn't last that long. But I could be wrong. I brought the rose to my nose and gently inhaled its soft fragrance. I indulged myself too, James. We learned a lot, kids. I looked at the time out of curiosity. The large white numbers on my phone showed 5:31 p.m. Yikes. 4 hours of being knocked out, and I still feel tired. No, like, you made it last long. Hey, not my fault, alright? I was talking to chat, and I was trying to make sure I read it properly. Alright? Wouldn't have lasted so long if nobody had said anything. I blame you. It's your fault, chat. I'm glad everybody got to come at the right time. No pun intended. It was Sunday, so I was allowed to sleep longer if I wanted to. Wow, blame the chat for your fetish. Hey, I didn't want to go for James. The only reason we're going for him is because Damien's route is depressing. I don't like Sam, and he's the only demon boy left. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but it felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still, I felt lonely. Couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed that night. Felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I had. I felt good. Sure you did, kid. Alright, let's save. Save. This one is the oldest, I think. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really old. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Why did I hit N instead of space? Well, apparently neither of them are working, so that's nice. Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep? Yeah, good sleep. That's what it was. Looked to my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky today. Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserved to get some good luck. I mean, she's not wrong. Grandpappy dying, abusive family, being kicked out. Lots of bad things happen. Ecstatic for the day ahead. I didn't say that right. Ecstatic? Is that a word? Ecstatic? Ecstatic? Is that... Ecstatic? That's a word? Ecstatic for the day ahead. That doesn't sound right. I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text. Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
I smiled. My friends were the best! Couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. Checked the time. 6:30. Why do you need to check the time? Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. Packed my bag and carried it downstairs towards the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon. There. That's it! That's all I need! Sitting on the table, a fresh, steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with the sugar and cream. Oh, God. Oh, excuse me. That didn't feel good. Oh, wow. Like a burp came, from out of my lung. Anyway. Hydrated Bot, thank you for letting us know that it has been 14 hours. We only have... 10 hours left. Fuck, I can't do basic ass math. We only have 10 hours left before the end of the stream. I'm so excited. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who made this? As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention. Have a good day. Yours. Well, I sure hope it's my good day. My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it's from one of the boys. Well, who else would it be from? Smacky, nobody else is in the house. Like, come on. Real detective over here. Maybe it was from him. I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating. Eating up? That's such a weird turn of phrase. Food was so delicious, I devoured every amazing bite. In like 20 minutes? Looked at the time again. Time to go? What's the time? When is time to go? Quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. Wasn't wanting to impress anyone. As I flipped my wonderful curly hair. But I still needed to look decent. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? I turned to see James, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Is James?
My true name isn't James, miss. I want you to know my real name if something were to happen.
So I can put missing flyers of you around town? James gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Raystrow.
Okay. So it's like Maestro, but with Ray instead of my. Raystrow, Maestro. Yeah. That's not the same at all. I'm trying here. As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure I would never forget it. James pulled away and smiled at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you're in any danger, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
Call me, beat me, if you want to reach me. I stared up at James, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. James smiled before kissing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework and the coming day. Oh my god, this part of the game is gonna be so hard. We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked toward Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Whoa. Ow.
Hey, are you okay?
I'm great.
Who did that?
Are we shocked? The three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had a look of complete innocence, while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little...
Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this has happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lisette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. We're gonna stand up and we're gonna walk away. I know it's hard. We really want to fight her. But we're not doing it. I wasn't going to bring myself to her level. This time. She was a bully, but I was not going to let her get to me. I had to be stronger than her, and only then would I have beaten her. I stood up and brushed myself off, pretending nothing had happened.
Anderson, you okay?
I am a pristine peach on a... trying to think of a... pristine peach on a... What do you normally put peaches on? I think I normally just eat peaches. Del Monte canned peaches are so good. Oh, man. I think I have a can of them in the fridge.
was a pretty bad fall.
I'm good. I'm cool with it. I merely smiled at them, not wanting to let them know the pain rushing through my body from that fall. My arms were quaking, my shoulders were pulsing. Kinda like what happened yesterday. But I remained content-faced. I quickly gathered up my belongings and nodded to my two friends. Come on, we'll be late for history. Suzu and Naomi looked at each other before frowning and nodding to me. Naomi and Suzu flanked me as we began to walk to class away from the gaggle of bullies. As we walked, I could barely see Suzu flipping the middle finger to the group from behind us. The group behind us, from the corner of my eye. Peach trees have peaches. I don't even remember the thing I was trying to say before, but thank you, Ray Ace 18. Man, crap, dude, that is a name. Ray Ace 18, try saying that 10 times fast, Lord.
Friggin' bunch of Lisette feet lickers.
That's gross, Suzu.
It's disgusting, actually. Feet are some of the nastiest things in the world.
It's all OMG! Lisette is the best! Let's follow her around because we obviously don't have lives.
Naomi and I could not help but laugh. The group behind us, however, did not like Suzu's words.
At least my dad doesn't screw around in the black market to keep a stupid casino running.
Everyone's always throwing out these, these insane, wild accusations about Suzu and Naomi's families, but we haven't heard a single thing about our family, despite the fact that our family is probably, objectively the worst. It's kind of shocking. Suzu stopped. Naomi and I stopped as well to look back at Suzu, who was completely red in anger. Suzu slowly turned a head to the group, glaring daggers at them.
Fuck did you just say?
I had to act fast. I placed my hand on Suzu's shoulder and gripped tightly, knowing she could try to push my hand away. Suzu, they're not worth it. Let's just go.
No, I think it's about time we taught them some manners.
Officer?
Suzu.
Looked at Lisette and her group. Lisette had a widely amused smile on her face, which irked me to no end. Nevertheless, I knew that fighting wasn't going to get us anywhere. Let's go. I grabbed Suzu by the shoulder roughly, pulling her back to Naomi, and Suzu tried to step towards the group, but Naomi held onto her other shoulder. It's break time. Break time. Break time.